Hi, this is Vince Reilly, the internet's more art, music nerd. I first heard the English composer Gavin Bryars when my older brother Phil bought and brought home The Sinking of the Titanic, published on Brian Eno's obscure label in 1975, and me, a wee 14-year-old. And this and its B-side, Jesus' Blood Never Failed Me Yet, made perfect sense to me. This at a time when my contemporaries at school were freaking out to Slade and Sweet, while I was already a fan of Krautrock, King Crimson, Van der Graaf Generator, so I must have been an insufferable musical snob, as I still must be, but hey, that's why I make these reviews. Gavin Bryars is rather a paradox. He's considered an experimental contemporary composer, influenced largely by John Cage, but his work's almost invariably tonal, acoustic, accessible, and deeply informed by music of the more distant past. And I'm not talking the 60s. In recent decades, he's come to settle on, or some would say, repeat music that is slow, evenly tempered, and a trademark melody and harmony that's instantly recognizable, shifting from one key to the next that creates a constant flux and a quiet feeling of longing. I suppose he means that if a melody defines his style, why not apply it to new themes? And in his recent collaboration with the poet and novelist Blake Morrison, his style fits Morrison's spoken poetry with a matching charm. Bryars and Morrison were commissioned for a festival in Yorkshire to create pieces of poetry to music long enough to be listened to from Goole to Hull, from one stop to another, hence the title, The Stopping Train. Morrison's cosy Yorkshire deadpan, vernacular language and subtle humour reminds me strongly of the great Alan Bennett, and he starts the series with a surprisingly postmodernist touch by directly referring to the name, childhood and music origins of the very composer he accompanies, yet another Yorkshireman. Such a collaboration is far from new for Bryars. In 1987, he collaborated with the Spanish sculptor Juan Muñoz in A Man in a Room Gambling, and in 2010 with John Berger and John Christie in I Send You This Cadmium Red, both commissioned for radio and which his latest collaboration strongly resembles. On a personal level, I met Bryars more than once, and although he didn't know me from Adam, he was highly attentive and at least as charming as his music. Being new to Blake Morrison, I will now hunt out and read his every word. And Gavin Bryars? Jesus' blood never failed me yet, never failed me yet. Jesus' blood never failed me yet. This one thing I know,